Hello, my good friends. Once again, we are here, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Spiritism, a closer look, and you are on Kardec Radio. I'm Luiz Lima, the host for tonight, and I just wanted to make sure that you have our contacts and our information. So if you want to get in touch with us, you have it down on your screen. Email, Facebook, or kardecradio.com. Well, tonight we are gonna have. Last week we, because it was Thanksgiving week, we spoke about thankfulness. Tonight we're gonna kind of talk about the other way around. We're gonna talk about what's not thankfulness. So, topic for tonight is hateful behavior. Hateful behavior. Oh, that's something that we see basically every day out there. If you turn on the news, that's enough to see a lot of hatred and all these fighting and wars and all of that, mass shootings. So that's what we're going to discuss today. How does Spiritism puts this in perspective so we can have maybe a different look, different from what the society sees, but from a spiritual point of view? How can we and how can we benefit from looking at this under a different light? That's the idea for tonight. So we are gonna address this in, I would say, maybe four parts. We're gonna talk about the concept of hatefulness and stuff like that. We're gonna bring some examples, some quick examples that we can use for discussion. The course of action to go against hateful or not participating hateful discussions and all of that. And then we're going to take a few conclusions. So, first of all, hateful behavior doesn't mean the same thing for everyone. You might think that somebody is behaving in a hateful manner, hateful way. They're full of hatred. And you can tell them why you're full of hatred. And they're going to say, I'm not. Because for them, they are not. Their reference, it's a matter of reference. Their reference is not the same as you. Or such a person or a group of people have a reference that is different from another group of people. So one accuses the other of being hateful and they don't think so. So you see, hateful behavior in most of our society, in most happenings in our society, is it is used as a justification for something that is an external stimulus. So people usually say like this, well, hatred came up because this person did this to me, he did this to me, she did this to me. So it's a justification for a behavior, assuming, quote, that it was triggered by something external when it's not. So we have two different things here, right? What it means for different people is not the same for all, and justifying as an external stimulus. I only did this because this person did this to me, but I'm not that way. Okay, so two things to start our discussion. Now, this relativeness of concept, meaning some people think you're acting in a hateful way, some other people don't. How come, right? It's either or. So this relativeness about this concept derives from the level of moral advancement that each one of us is. And this is something we discussed last week based on, I brought several times here, the spirit scale. I'm going to leave the spirit scale here like we did last couple of weeks. So we have it here. We can use that as a reference for our discussion tonight. So if you are down on the scale, okay, for those who are here down on the scale, hateful or hateful behavior mean one thing. For those up here, it means another thing. These guys here may think they're not behaving hatefully. There's no hatred. This is just what you see, what you think. Because for them, we don't see it the same way that these guys up are on the scale. So that's the first thing. It's a matter of understanding the references. Okay, so 4 things that we are going to mention here in terms of the conception and to put things into context. First of all, here, Gospel according to Spiritism. If you turn into chapter 10, item 4, there's a very strong phrase in there. It's right off the book. It's not my phrase. It's Allan Kardec's. The phrase is, hatred and rancor denote a soul that is neither advanced nor great. Yeah, I know it's heavy, right? Hatred and rancor denote a soul that is neither advanced or great. If we go back here, advanced or great is upper on the scale. Not advanced, not great is somewhere down here on the scale. So hatred and rancor have to do with these guys here in red somewhere, okay? Of course, this is a range, but it has to do with the red guys. Then, in the introduction of the Spirit's book, that was the gospel, right? Introduction of the Spirit's book. Here's what Allan Kardec is going to tell us. Lower order spirits, meaning the red guys, lower order spirits, share base passions such as hatred, envy, jealousy, pride, and so on. So you see, everything, it's the second thing that points to the same location on the scale. It's down. It has to do with the red guys. Then, still here, Spirit's book, when Allan Kardec is going to study individually each one of those blocks that you see on the scale, he studies each one individually. When he gets to define impure spirits, this is what it says. That they, the impure spirits, they almost always choose their victims from among honest people out of hatred for the good. Again, impure spirits. Impure, you see on your screen, is the lowest possible level. Lowest level. They almost always choose their victims. What do they mean by victims? Those they're gonna discharge their hate upon. Choose their victims from among honest people out of hatred for the good. Everything points to the same place. And here's the fourth, and I want to bring it to you. Spirit's book, question 292. Allan Kardec asks the spirits. Pay attention to the question because this is incredible. He's asking the spirits, is there hatred among spirits? So the question is, when you are a spirit in the spirit world, not incarnate, is there hatred? Answer, there is no hatred except among impure spirits. Which is the same thing on the previous idea that we brought, also from the Spirit's book. There is no hatred except among impure spirits. And this continues. And these are the ones who sow enmity and dissensions amongst you. So let's go back to the first part of the answer. See if you understand the same thing I do. There is no hatred except among impure spirits. What I understand is hatred is here. Frivolous, there is no hatred. That's what I understand. Or maybe here, because this is not a well-defined scale. I mean, those are ranges. But anyway, it is down here, way down. So for all of us in our society, where hatred dominates, or it's even present, doesn't have to be dominating, it's even present, they are down here. So in a society fueled by hatred, we have spirits here in this first block, maybe first couple of blocks. That's what their spirits are telling us. That's not me. That's here, right here. Spirits book. Go there. Definition of impure in spirits and question 292. Now, we discussed this last time. When you look at the scale here, the spirit scale that you have on your screen, it defines a spectrum. And I gave you a couple of examples. For example, tolerance. Tolerance and intolerance are part of the same spectrum. It just happens that tolerance is up here. Intolerance is down here, but they're part of the same spectrum. Love and hatred are part of the same spectrum. Love is here, hatred is here, but they are part of the same spectrum. The hatred that's down here one day is going to get better and better and better and better and better, and we're going to change its name to love because it doesn't make sense to call something very good here hatred. We just need a different word down here so we can communicate properly and understand where we are when we communicate. So hatred and love, they are part of the same spectrum. Hateful behavior infuses hatred energy in us. That's all it does. So that's what I wanted to bring in terms of concept and to put things into a context. Let's look at a few things that are happening in our society today, and we have a million examples. Let's just pick some 3 or 4. First of all, domestic violence. Domestic violence. So somebody abuses somebody, a man abuses a woman or something like that. Usually there's a very aggressive signs on the body of, punching and stuff like that. So you go to the man and you ask him, why did you do this? And very often, the answer is, because I love her. Because I love her. You see, for him, if you look at the scale, he's down here somewhere. So love here at this level is not the same as this. But for him, he cannot see above. He cannot see above. For him, this is the greatest and best type of love he can offer. Love and hatred are on part of the same spectrum. They don't understand that could be a lot better than this because of the level that they are. Here's another one. Hate groups of any type, gangs, bullying. Bullying is an example. We see this every day out there. Now look at this bullying. What is how does it work? What is the logic behind it? I'm here, quiet, not minding my own. Then a group of people come over to me and start to harass and just say things and so. It is 100% their initiative, not mine. It's 100% theirs. So they bring hatred out of nothing. It's not even a response to anything that I did, and they are reacting badly, but they are, no. They bring it freely out of nothing because of where they are in the spirit scale. They are all the way down on the red. School shooting, mass shooting, same thing. The kids in school didn't do anything for the shooter to shoot. So the shooter is not reacting to something that the kids did. No, it is 100% his initiative. Out of nothing. Just because they hate. They don't even know what they hate. They don't even know what they hate because their level is so low on the scale. They have no discernment about what to hate or how to hate. It is that bad. It is that low on the scale. And I think Spiritism gives us a pretty good perspective on looking at this, this way. And here's another one: hate political campaigns. We're not talking about politics. It's not this. It's an idea, right? So I can be a candidate for something. It doesn't have to be a high political figure, anything. And I'm supposed to present my plans, right? This is what I intend to do. Instead of presenting my plans, and this is what I intend to do, here's my list of things that I'm going to work on, my campaign can be hating my opponent. This guy here did this and this and this, and I don't have a platform. I just have hatred. That's my platform, to hate. I remember something that happened. I was very young, but I do remember that. When the first airplane hijackings started in the late 70s, everything was coordinated by a man we didn't know who at the time. Then we came to know later, Yasser Arafat. So he was doing all of this. He was organizing groups, hate groups, to hijack planes and ask for money and a lot of things. He had an agenda. That's not my point. My point is, this is in the late 70s. In the early 90s, he was still trying. The hijacking stopped because of all the security that we were able to come up with for protection of the innocent, because they hate. They don't know who, they don't know why, but they hate. So if you're flying on a plane, they hate you too, with no reasonable explanation. So in the early 90s, President Clinton, if I'm not mistaken at the time, was able to organize a meeting right here in the US between him and the president of Israel. So the three of them could sit down, the three of them, and try to get this thing done once and for all, stop hating each other. So he was kind of this mediator. So they were getting beautifully along. That was for a couple of weeks or so, right here in the US. On the very last day, things were ready to go. They were ready to shake hands, which was, from me at the time, I was watching this and I go like, my God, I can hardly believe this is going to happen. This is so good. On the very last minute, Yasser Arafat turned his back on everything and said, I'm not doing it. So he was obviously asked by the other two, why are you not doing this? Answer, because I hate you. Look at the scale, see where he was at the time. Hopefully he's better now. Anyway, what can we do? What can we do to not participate in these hateful things, or how can we protect ourselves, first of all? So, number one, knowledge and understanding of the concept and context of hatred, hateful attitudes, just like we discussed here so far. Question right here, go back to this book, question 1009. Response to that question. In the response, the Spirit tells us, quotes, the objective of humankind is to gravitate towards divine union. To accomplish it, three things are necessary: justice, love, and knowledge. There are three things that are contrary to and oppose this union. Three: ignorance, hatred, and injustice. So hatred undermines knowledge, justice, and love. So it undermines everything. Basically everything, because everything is based on justice, love, and charity, which is a form of love and knowledge. So hatred is this great underminer, if you will, right? That brings everything down, makes everything implode. Here's another thing. A lot of us have people that we hate, literally hate, but because of circumstances, we have to be with these people, live with these people, see these people frequently. And for most of us, that becomes a problem because we don't want to get close to them. We are tempted to shy away from these people. So we avoid going to the places they go if we know they're going. We avoid everything that brings any idea about proximity. So we kind of are tempted to shy away from them. Spirit Andre Luiz gives us a phrase that makes a lot of sense. This is the phrase, quotes, without temptation, the task of perfection is impossible. Quotes, without temptation, the task of perfection is impossible. So if we don't try to spend quality time with these people, we are not working on our perfection. Yes, we absolutely can. It's free will though, but we absolutely can spend quality time with the people that we hate. So if we have to be with these people, let's say, just say in a party for maybe 30 minutes, we can make this ahead of time. We can make this to be the worst 30 minutes of our lives, or we can just go and spend quality time. What is quality time with an enemy, with the ones we hate? This is the trick. What is quality time? First of all, understand where they're coming from. They might have their things that we don't know about. They might have traumas, they might have circumstances, situations, we have ours. Spend quality time. Let's try to figure out what this is. Stop hating. It doesn't help. It actually makes it worse. Never go down and match the hate level. Never. Never go down to match the hate level. I like the phrase by a French writer. He was in the 1650s or 1660s. So this has got it's a long time ago. This is what it says: when our hatred is too keen, it places us beneath those we hate. When our hatred is too keen, it places us beneath those we hate. And Gandhi says something also interesting. Hate is the sin, not the sinner. The sinner is the one feeling all the hate. Hatred is the weapon of the weak. Hatred kills the self because it infuses each one of our cells with hatred compatible energy. When we hate somebody, we are infusing hateful energy or hateful related energy into each one of our 70 trillion cells. That's the size of the disaster, 70 trillion cells. So hatred is to be exterminated, not to exterminate ourselves. And to wrap up, just something to think about. Sometimes the hate is so intense that we don't know why or even who to hate, like the examples we brought here to discuss. Sometimes it's so intense that we hate things. You pick up things and throw on the wall. You kick things, not people, things, as if they could understand and react to what we are doing. Hating things. This is a very red, based on the scale, thing to do. Of course, one day, hatred runs out when we decide to. It's called free will. Hatred will run out the day we decide to. Not when two guys in suits and nicely dressed sit somewhere in the world and sign treaties of peace. That's not when hatred stops. Hatred runs out when we decide to. And so does selfishness and everything else. So, whatever enemy, the biggest enemy is no match for love. Because love is up here and hate is down here. They're not paired. So the biggest enemy, meaning the one super low on the scale, lowest possible placement, is no match for what's up here. Love will always win. Love will always win. Thank you so much for participating. We appreciate you being here with us. So we will be here next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Don't forget, Spiritism, a closer look. Thanks so much. Be well.